Somebody once said,
oh boy, here we go.
Hulkamania will never die. Who was that?
Somebody that apparently just got hit in the head with a steel chair.
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Coming from you, that means a lot.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, VinFuso. And welcome back to this Hogan Knows Best retrospective. I've previously covered the first and second seasons of the show in past videos, so if you haven't seen those yet, I would highly suggest checking them out first before coming back here and watching this. Because today, we're talking about Hogan Knows Best Season 3. So enough hot dogging and grandstanding, let's get right into this. Episode 21, The Big Move. New season, new intro, same old Hogans. And as usual with this show, this episode starts off with some unfortunate future foreshadowing.
I see the big trucks, you're taking everything.
Everything.
Why yes. Yes she is. Like the title says, it's the Hogan's big move. They're now moving down to Miami in order to help further daughter Brooke's singing career. Which, by the way, is also the whole reason the Hulkster even signed on VH1's dotted line. He only agreed to do this show because he thought it would help bring his daughter into the limelight. And you know what? I make a million jokes at his expense. Let me at least credit him for this. The man threw caution to the wind and allowed his personal life to become his public life, all in the name of the love for his daughter. That's actually admirable. And honestly, I'm sick to my stomach for having to said that. Let's get on to the regular Hogan grossness, please. The Hogan clan, spelled with a K, finds that their time in Miami is filled with natural disasters. These unfortunate, unforeseen circumstances cause inner turmoil in the Hogan family. And considering how nice the house is and how terrible everything surrounding it is at this present moment, the whole thing just feels like thunder in paradise. Oh, and Brooke's song debuts on the radio. But that's honestly about as relevant to the episode as Brooke Hogan is to pop culture today. The highlight of the episode has to be this.
That's the towel I wipe my ass with.
I had to smell it.
And by highlight, I of course mean lowlight. For years, I've heard that Brian Knobbs has made a career off brown-nosing Hulk Hogan. But never once did I think I'd actually have to see it. And now, I really wish I hadn't. I am truly unhappy. My life has been made significantly worse for having to have seen that. Episode 22. Hogan's on the high seas. Hulk Hogan on a boat. That's it. That's the plot. But you know who's really missing the plot here? The Huckster.
I feel like I got the neck brace on after The Undertaker spiked me on the concrete in Detroit in '74.
Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker in '74? As in 1974? This is what happens when you spend your life in fiction. You lose all fact. As the Hogans are looking to branch out and have their own sweet life adventures, Mr. and Mrs. Hulk once again find themselves interfering in their son's love life. Nick's boat time is spent chasing after the girls on Chip, much to his parents' dismay. They seem really upset that Nick wants to spend time with a woman he's not related to. Guys, he's still your son. Him having a girlfriend or a friend girl or whatever's in between is not a slight against your parental relationship, I assure you. He doesn't lose blood relation because he has a connection with somebody else. I promise that's not the case. Later on, the Hogans play the newlywed game on the cruise. And this may surprise you, but they don't do all that well.
Linda and Mr. Hogan right here. 22 wonderful years of marriage, 4 out of 10 correct.
Afterward, we have another one of those awkward in hindsight Hogan Knows Best moments, where Hulk starts asking his son how he does so well with younger women.
Are you making out with him the first day?
Depends.
How much making out goes on? You go from saying hello, and then the next thing you know, you get your arm around him and you're macking on him like in about 5 minutes. What do you say to him? Because I never had that type of game with these girls. Then there's no commitment, there's no, paybacks, there's no end arounds, there's no getting caught.
And considering that this show ended surrounding a lot of controversies, including, but not limited to, the Hulkster cheating on his wife with one of Brooke's friends just 1 year after this episode aired? Yikes.
Not like you're locked in, so if they catch you with another girl, it's like, hey.
Yikes. They later celebrate Hulk Hogan's 53rd birthday at the end of the episode by mentioning it's his birthday, and that's it. At this point, the show doesn't feel like it has any full-fledged plots. It's all just boiled down to basic concepts. Episodes are made regardless if they have any actual content to make the episodes. They got picked up for 12 more episodes, so they're giving you 12 more episodes, even if there's nothing happening in them, which unfortunately seems to be a theme here in this season.
What kind of lines would you use back in the Disney?
Hey, how'd you like to come up in my room, get naked, and wear my title belt?
That's a good one.
Episode 23. Brooke faces the music. Brooke Hogan needs to work harder to make her music career work. And I find that the Brooke Hogan episodes in the show are usually the worst of the bunch. Through no fault of her own. I just find the music career arc really uneventful and mediocre.
Mediocre?
And it leads to way too many questions. Like, why didn't Hulk call in a favor from his old pal Cyndi Lauper? Why was it so hard for Brooke to drop an album when she clearly had a foot in the door by being Hulk Hogan's daughter? I mean, honestly, who could forget Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band and their chart-topping album Hulk Rules? If Hulk Hogan's arch-enemy and well-known gangster rapper Macho Man Randy Savage dropped a diss track on her, then and only then would this whole endeavor be successful. For the most part, the episode doesn't have a whole lot to offer other than showing Brooke working toward her goal, and showing the music industry acting like an opportunistic vulture waiting for her to become legal. It's weird how 1 year she's a kid, but then the next year they're trying to set her up as some sex symbol.
She's been daddy's little girl. She's crossing over into that 18, and so we need creative control just to make her more sexy.
I never thought I would say this, but yeah, I'm with Hulk. This is more than a little uncomfortable. It's like a bunch of full-grown men staring down at a clock waiting for it to strike 18. By the way, I'm not saying that they have any perverse motivations there, but the fact that they're doing it for profit still feels like they're taking advantage of her youth, but in a different way. Again, I'm not some holier-than-thou preacher, but it does seem a little bit seedy, doesn't it? And Brooke, don't go putting your boob pads on your father. That's just in poor taste.
You guys want to see something really cute? Here, Daddy, let me give you some muscles.
What are you? Ah!
Episode 24, Kosher Mania. It seems like no matter where the Hogans go, their problems only continue to follow them. They previously had issues with their neighbors in Bel Air, and now they're having problems with their neighbors in Miami. So in order to get on good terms with the neighborhood, Linda makes cookies for everyone, only to find out that the vast majority of their neighbors can't eat them because they're not kosher, which is confusing for the Hogan cult, also spelled with a K.
What does kosher mean, like pickles?
I don't know, Terry. What does kosher mean? I thought that was a kind of meat.
It's a pickle.
The people are kosher, and the cookies aren't.
So funny to say kosher, because we use kosher as like...
Oh yeah, that's kosher. I'm kosher.
Yeah.
It's kosher. But see, you don't even know what it means.
Pickles.
Kosher means Jewish.
Whatever.
Kosher means Jewish.
I think so.
Like sausage means Italian?
Yeah.
Luckily, he talks to one kosher guy, and then suddenly the man is an expert on everything of the matter.
What is kosher food? I thought kosher was like pickles.
Well, we have kosher pickles.
Or at least he would think. Because later he does screw up the party by grilling kosher meat and regular meat on the same grill, which is obviously a no-go. Linda attempts to make nice with the neighborhood by having a kosher party, whatever that is. And Nick attempts to make nice with the neighborhood by harassing every city resident he can find. What kind of sociopathic shit is this? The kosher party doesn't go as according to plan because once again, Hogan screws it up. And that's it. That's it. That's the episode. But, like, I don't know how else to ask this. What are these episodes? Episode 25. Brooke's dating game. So Brooke has a problem finding a date. And that problem's name is Dad. Despite this, the Hogan family, not spelled with a K, comes together to try and find Brooke a date. By completely splitting apart and trying to find Brooke a date. Which is also unfortunate foreshadowing, because this won't be the last time this family splits. So the whole crew splits up Scooby-Doo style and tries to find their ideal man. For Brooke. How very normal. That's how that happens. Even stranger than that is who the family sets her up with. Nick befriends a car dude like himself to court his sister, and Hulk actually sets Brooke up with the British Bulldog's son, D.H. Smith. Holy shit, Davy Hart Smith, what are you doing here? This is the worst thing that you've been a part of outside of WrestleMania 26.
So do you want to wrestle for, like, permanent, like, till you can't?
I don't really want to do anything that's...
It's your passion?
Yeah.
This is kind of like the two royalty families of the wrestling families. Got Brooke Hogan, the purebred of the Hogan family, and, you know, Harry, the purebred of the Hart dynasty.
Anyway, my point is both her brother and father set her up with guys that are exactly like them. And that's not even me reading too much into it. Hulk Hogan literally says this.
See, I told you he was just like me. Perfect in every way, right?
Why are you trying to get your daughter and sister to date you? Linda, however, comes in with a save by setting her up with an older model from her album photo shoot, who Brooke seems to take a liking to. Though because of this, Papa Hogan doesn't.
Actually, we made plans for tomorrow night, so yeah.
You're not going out with that guy again. This is just to show you what's out there.
Episode 26. Superfan. You see, I was hyped to see this episode after I read its title, because it was about time we saw the return of a WCW original, a guy who never got the recognition he deserved. But alas, it wasn't to be. And instead we just got young Kevin Owens over here. The fan gets the full Make-A-Wish experience, just minus the very terrible downside that comes with that experience. This guy isn't just a Hulk Hogan fan. He's a Hulk Hogan fanatic. It starts off sweet, but it feels more strange as it goes on. He starts by taking pictures with Hogan and asking Hulk to record voicemails for him, watching old Hogan DVDs with the Immortal One, even going toe-to-toe in the ring with Hulk Hogan. Then he starts getting too comfy with the family and not taking any hints, having Hulk Hogan himself tattoo Team Hogan on him. There are just way too many red flags here. I mean, for Christ's sake, his wife shows up and her name is Terry. Terry. Which is also what Hulk's name is.
Terry's here.
It seems like he overstays his welcome immediately with the Hogan family. What with annoying Linda and having Nick take a picture of him with his father. But Hogan himself seems completely oblivious to it, and writes the whole ordeal off as being a good experience. Well, at least it was for him. All joking aside though, this episode is the highlight of the season so far. There wasn't a whole lot happening in it, but you know, at least something was happening in it.
That's so cool, Kyle.
It's not cool that he's crying.
Episode 27. Oh, fuck, I can't read that one. Hold up.
¿Qué vas a hacer, hermano?
The Hogans once again find themselves as outsiders in the strange new world of Miami, Florida. But whereas before the Hogans had to figure out how to kosher, today they need to learn how to Spanish. I think my buddy Shane said it best as he sat on my couch intoxicated and half awake when he said, "Holy shit, you're culturally lost."
La primera luz. You understand this?
I'll find it.
Nick, I don't understand anything here. I feel like I'm not even in my own country anymore.
The results are pretty much the same as the Kosher Mania episode. And yeah, once again, it ends with no real problem, plot, or solution. And that's funny to me because this show is already so creatively bankrupt that they're now repeating plots that they just did 2 episodes prior. But the good news is, it can only get better, right? Right? Right?
She spoke nothing but Spanish.
Oh, God.
He comes up to her and goes, eggs, eggs, I'm like, that's how you ask her for eggs?
Episode 28. Brooke Bears All. I already don't like this episode based on the title alone. And the episode itself is absolute insanity. From Linda Hogan attempting to change the choreography of Brooke's show, and instructing her to be more sexual and rub on Paul Wall, all while the Hulkster cheers from the corner.
Do it,
mama, do it,
you know? I mean, you gotta come up, see your lips moving, but I don't.
Do it, mama, do it, mama.
Like, what hell did I wake up to? Why do I constantly feel like I'm in Wonderland, just watching this family in its day-to-day life?
Yeah, baby, I've been wrestling for way too long. Now you're gonna sing this funky, funky song.
The performance feels and looks like it didn't go as according to plan. It's all very awkward, even with the show showcasing this as being some kind of triumph. It feels like it misses the mark. And that's coming from a mark. Although I'll tell you what, the more I watch this show and see Paul Wall, the more I realize why I don't hear about Paul Wall today. Brooke has to go in for a photo shoot, and there's this one awkward moment due to editing. Nick is showing Hulk a modeling magazine and joking that this is what Brooke is going to be doing. But the issue here is that since that magazine is copyrighted material, the show blurs the whole magazine, and the end result makes it seem like it's a lot more sinister than it actually is.
Oh, great.
That's your daughter.
So this is exactly what I don't want.
Brooke goes through with the photo shoot and interview, has an article written about her, and Hulk, the overprotective father, sees the magazine's article from said shoot, disapproves, and buys out the store.
This Sidco right here has Brooks Magazine.
Oh, there it is. Look at that.
What? What is that? What kind of is that? Did you see that?
Gosh, look at this picture.
Even going so far as to taking magazines from other customers. He also goes to a bunch of other stores locally and buys out their issues of the magazine as well. I'll be honest with you, I understand why he did it, because they do read some columns from that article, but I think it comes off more odd than it does awful. Like, what kind of answers are these that Brooke's giving? And what even were the questions that were being asked?
When my friends were dressing as French maids for Halloween, I ordered a hot cop outfit.
Still a virgin.
Do you have a problem with that?
I'll tell you guys that, but I'm not going to keep bringing it up because after this, I may change my mind.
Episode 29, Nick in the driver's seat. Stop me if you heard this one before, but I already don't like this episode based on the title alone. This episode is about Nick wanting to pursue a career as a drift kart racer. I just don't think that that's a great idea.
Going drifting, baby.
Considering what Nick is infamous for, this makes this episode feel very unfortunate. Nick is taught how to drift from professionals who seem to think that he has some potential. How true that is beyond me, because there's also professionals saying that Brooke has some potential, and, well, I'll be honest with you, I'm tone deaf, and I also suspect so is she. I can't really attest to how great Nick is at driving, because driving just looks like driving to me. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Much like episodes surrounding Brooke's music career, I find this very boring. There's not a whole lot to talk about, and you could see 2 or 3 clips from this episode and still get the same experience as watching it in full. Unless you're a race car fan. Maybe it's interesting then, but honestly still I doubt it. After a bunch of training, Nick actually gets the chance to race. While he's seemingly doing good at first, eventually he crashes. No cutaways here, that's just in bad taste. Once again, very, very unfortunate. The car needs a new part and the clock is ticking. Luckily, the name Hulk Hogan goes a long way in the race car community, because we all remember Hogan's deep and meaningful friendship with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty. I mean, they were both in the NWO together. You know what they say, when you're in the NWO, you're in the NWO for life. Hogan's able to get the part in time to fix Nick's car, only to find that the track itself has been changed somehow. Nick takes off and he crashes yet again, wrecking the car a second time. God damn it! This show just really punches you in the face with irony. A Hogan, however, is never one to quit, and Nick picks himself back up to lose and still not qualify.
Nothing's going to be handed to Nick Hogan. Shows a whole lot of maturity for a 16-year-old, especially when it doesn't have his driver's license yet.
Episode 30, Knobs Invades. I love that the show never cared enough to get the spelling of Brian Knobs' name correct. In almost every episode, it is one singular B, but the man actually spells his name with 2 B's. You'd think at some point somebody would have said something, but nobody really noticed, because nobody really cared. The episode is even listed on the DVD written wrong. Anyway, plot of the episode. Knobs is in town to visit the Hogans and stay at their crib for a week. And as you might imagine, hijinks ensues.
I'm here!
You're here?
All right, where's my room?
But the man who is famously, or infamously, referred to as a nasty boy, isn't exactly great company to keep. He's loud, over the top, and extremely obnoxious. The same things that made him succeed as a wrestler make him fail as an ideal house guest.
Brian Knobs, the nasty boy, is here! Where's the bathroom?
He annoys everyone in the house in various ways, and somehow comes off worse than the superfan from just a few episodes earlier.
Hey, wanna watch WrestleMania 7?
Hey, go to bed, you idiot. Get out, go to bed.
While he does get on Terry's nerves from time to time, it's nothing compared to how he annoys the rest of the family. Hogan, however, can tolerate significantly more of his friend's shitty behavior.
Hell, I can stay a couple more days, no problem. Linda, it's all right if I stay a couple of days, isn't it?
You can stay as long as you want. You can live here if you want.
Oh.
But I actually feel bad for the guy. Because even when he's trying to do the right thing and get on Linda's good side, he accidentally winds up giving her more work to do in fixing his mistakes. The guy means well, but he falls so short in execution. Quite frankly, and I'm going to be real with y'all, Brian Knobbs is the guy I thought I was going to grow up to be. Now granted, I still have some time, so maybe that is my future right there, but the meaning well, but falling short, that is the title of my autobiography. But Brian Knobbs, in spite of, or, actually maybe because of his personality, is highly, highly entertaining. I think anytime he shows up on the show, you just know that you're in for something. Guy should have been utilized more. If Hogan Knows Best was a sitcom, Brian Knobbs should have been the wacky neighbor. Knobbs eventually does the unthinkable and plans a past their prime pool party at Hogan's Paradise. A star-studded event that included the man of 1,000 gimmicks Brutus Beefcake, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Meng, Jim Duggan, Dog, this guy, one half of the Killer Bees, the other Nasty Boy, and wow, I haven't seen such a legendary late-in-life lineup since Heroes of Wrestling. These overgrown, grown men act like little children in the pool. And I swear to you, their camera presence has not changed since the 80s. So all these guys getting together and trying to act real in front of a reality TV camera comes off just as authentic as when they did it in front of an 80s camera to cut a wrestling promo. Like most Hulk Hogan matches from the 90s, this episode ends without a conclusion. And the last few minutes feel like a test pilot pitch for WWE's Legends House. I would have to put this episode up there with the Superfan episode I mentioned before, because it is fun, but they're almost the exact same plot. And these two episodes, while being standouts of this season, I don't think would necessarily stand out in the last two. Episode 31, Hulkamania Forever. So this is a weird one. Hulk Hogan previously acted as if he transitioned beyond wrestling into the world of grilling. But believe it or not, that endeavor wasn't as fruitful as headlining a WrestleMania. In this, Vince McMahon basically asks Hogan to commit to WWE until his dying day. And like most of Hulk Hogan's lifelong commitments, this one doesn't really last. Vince McMahon point blank says he needs to stop messing with his family and start messing with these ring ropes. You think that would cause problems at home, but no, Linda agrees with him.
Well, we could use the money.
You could always use the money. No matter how much money I make, it still isn't enough.
Once again, oof. McMahon sweetens the pot by offering to play Brooks' music video on NBC. So of course Hulk obliges, and not only does the man come back for this one-off appearance, but he signs an insane 20-year deal. I think that he signed this deal mainly because at this point in his life, Hulk Hogan wasn't bleeding red, white, and blue. He was bleeding green. Seriously, Brooks' singing career was an investment that didn't exactly pay off for the big guy. And because of that, Hogan had to pay up.
I didn't think I was going to have to wrestle at 54 years old because my wife spends so much money I could never retire.
You have to support me in the style in which I'm accustomed to living.
Episode 32, The Canine Mutiny. So, again, stop me if you heard this before. The Hogans have problems with their neighbors. Yet again, there's an issue close to home for the Hulkster, as his down-the-street neighbor sprays Brooke and Linda as they're passing by in their car. Of course. But that's not even the plot of the episode. This episode is actually about, and once again, stop me if you heard this one before, the animals are causing a ruckus. Mostly the dogs, but the birds too. We also get an appearance from a frog who is so ashamed at being a part of this production that he jumped into a jar of ammonia and died. We're also shown a bird who's looking to go one-on-one with the Hulkster. A bird who now joins an elite group of people who have had Hulk Hogan put them over. Linda decides to bring the dogs to doggy yoga because, when you have Hulk Hogan money, screw it. But luckily, Linda gets a massage from someone who suggests the dogs get massages themselves, which they do. Because if you have Hulk Hogan money, you spend it. Then we have a crazy woman claiming to talk to the animals. And it's funny, but mostly it's really creepy. You know, often when I see people like this, I wonder if these jabroni marks have worked themselves into a shoot. Like, do they believe that they're actually doing this? Like, do they think that they actually have powers? Or are they just trying to get your money? I don't know. Either way, I'm not really a fan of them. Look, I can admit that this probably isn't my greatest Hogan Knows Best video, but this isn't the greatest season of Hogan Knows Best. I'm working with what I got. On top of that, my brain is melting from the monotony of the season. All I can think to say at this point is, this is dumb. Which it is, it's valid what I'm saying, but I'm not saying a lot. Like the first season, this season ends with what feels like a filler episode, rather than a season finale. But then again, this whole season feels like a filler season. Like I'm explicitly binge-watching the filler episodes of a show. Overall, I have to say that without a shadow of a doubt, this is my least favorite season thus far. While the last two seasons were absurd, they were at the very least entertaining. Whether that be by accident, coincidence, or design. But this one is shockingly boring and bland, as opposed to just being shocking. So I'm really hoping that the show's final season makes up for this batch of filler episodes. So real quick, I gotta talk about this rip-off artist, Brian Zane, who goes and makes the same videos that I'm making. Well, Brian Zane, I have some words for you. It's all good. Look, guys, I really appreciate y'all thinking of me and bringing me up several thousand times in his comment section. That was sweet of you. But Brian is a buddy of mine and is one of the most overall well-meaning, good-intentioned, and great-hearted individuals I've ever come across. He's done me a million favors by having a reoccurring appearance on this channel in videos that did nothing for him and did everything for me. Quite frankly, I got one of my first big breaks on YouTube because of him. So, yeah, it's okay, guys. We can both review the same things. It's not the end of the world. He's not ripping me off. There's no hostility, hatred, or heat. It's like a wise man once said, don't work yourselves into a shoot, brother. Anyway, if you guys like this video and want to see the final season retrospective, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying, Hulk Hogan is kosher. With all that being said, I was your least favorite YouTuber, VInfuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
Don't worry, sweetheart. I love you. Yes.
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was VInfuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.